Do you struggle with mental health like on a daily basis? My anxiety and depression in some ways is a manifestation of the ADHD, and if I treat the ADHD, I treat the anxiety.
Hello. Welcome back to We Dive Deeper. My name is Kate McGill, and this is the podcast where small talk goes to die, my friends. There is no small talk allowed here. Absolutely none. My guests pick at random from 70 of my all-time favourite questions that I've curated from around the globe, and amazing conversation ensues. I've had such wonderful feedback and comments about the Woody episode. Loads of Bastille fans have been in touch saying that they love to hear more about behind the musician, behind the industry. So I'm so glad that you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for getting in touch. And so many new patrons on my Patreon. Hello, everyone who's signed up. You are so welcome, and I'm so grateful for you. Don't forget that you can get the full episodes that are not cut off a week earlier than everyone else on my Patreon, patreon.com/Kate McGill. And we have some fun episodes coming up next week after Gabrielle's. We've got Josephine from Oh Wonder. And I do wonder how I managed to pull that one off, as I do with every single person I talk to on here. I feel out of my depth, and yet here I am talking to these wonderful people. And I have just this second decided that I'm going to do a review of the week. And my review of the week this week is from Iris. Iris loves cats. She says, I usually don't like podcasts, but I absolutely love We Dive Deeper. I also hate small talk, and I find it so interesting why we are who we are and what we all go through. Right? I really find that interesting. Kate is absolutely amazing at what she does. She always makes everyone feel at ease, and you can tell that her guests trust her. Although some of the questions are tough, I highly recommend it, and I can't wait for the next episode. Thank you so much, Iris, and you are officially the first ever review of the week. So I hope you enjoy that title for the next 2 weeks. But onwards with Gabrielle's episode. So I first stumbled across Gabrielle, as I'm sure many of you did, on YouTube probably about 10 years ago. And I remember watching one of her videos and just thinking, how on planet Earth does someone with a voice and a talent like that exist? And yet she is still existing, and she is still the most talented, wonderful human being ever. She has nearly 4 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Many people might know her from the John Lewis advert, the famous Christmas John Lewis advert a couple of years ago, where she did the most amazing cover of The Power of Love by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. But most recently, she's put out a single with JP Cooper called Losing Me, and fuck me if it is not one of the most beautifully written songs of 2019. If you haven't heard it yet, make sure you go and listen. I promise you won't be disappointed. So on today's episode, we get into all things ADHD and what it's like for her to live with that day to day. We also get into what it was like when she first signed to her label, and she worked and had burnout. We get into a bit of veganism, and embarrassing stories, and lots of other stuff. There's so many funny moments in this episode, so I really hope you enjoy. I won't keep you any further. Here is my chat with Gabrielle Aplin. Hello, Gabrielle.
Hello, sorry, I got a mouthful of crisp.
So thank you so much for doing this for me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, the pleasure is quite literally all mine. Sorry if you can hear us ice clinking. I know that annoyed some other people.
Chewing
and
the chewing, ASMR, not nice.
We're drinking the Plymouth Gin Navy Strength, and fuck. Oh, I literally thought that was your dog then. I was like, got a problem.
What's touching?
Okay, right. Let's just get straight into it. Pick a number between 1 and 70.
1 and 70?
Mm-hmm.
33.
33. Okay, I should have been prepared and had this up. Alas. Right. Do you consider yourself to be truly free?
No.
Expand.
So on many levels, maybe on some levels, yes. Like, I don't have a boss. I don't have anyone telling me what to do. But I know if I didn't do what I need to do, my life would just fall apart. And also I feel like there's like kind of mental freeness, freedom
Yeah.
as well. I feel like guilt, time management, and just dopamine hold me back maybe and make me feel like I'm not free. I think there's lots of, it's the way you frame it as well. Like I was telling you just now about my friend and I both having the same situation, us in our houses alone, and she had the best time of her life, but I felt so guilty that I wasn't doing anything, even though I had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel like freedom, even though I'm completely free and have a day off. It doesn't feel like I'm free.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you struggle with mental health like on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think it comes in waves. I have ADHD, and
Oh yeah, tell us how you figured that out, because it just came, like, didn't someone you?
I watched. I think it was something to do with Edinburgh Fringe, and I'm so happy I didn't go out that night. And I watched the TV, and I stayed in an airport hotel, and I could have gone to a gig, and I was like, no, I'm going to stay here. And it was Edinburgh Fringe, this thing called BBC Ouch, and it was like people with mental health, there's disabilities, like all sorts of different kind of issues, illnesses. That's my dog shaking, or anything, and then they're not always visible as well. So, and it was like a kind of like a storytelling show, and lots of different people come and telling stories. And there was a guy in a wheelchair who was telling a great story, and a lady with cerebral palsy, a lady with anxiety, and then this girl comes on at the end, and I was like, okay, her illness or disability isn't visible, and then she was just talking about her life, and I was like, oh geez, that's me. Wow, that's me. Okay, whoa. And I just went and got checked out, and I went to a therapist, and then I went to a psychiatrist, and I got a diagnosis, and it was amazing. But it made me go, okay, so my anxiety and depression in some ways is a manifestation of the ADHD, and if I treat the ADHD, I treat the anxiety. And I did feel that for a bit, but it's easy to slip back into habits and stuff. But for me, it's not like hyperactivity, it's more... like women tend to go in on themselves. So it's like I can just sit and stare at the wall for hours. I just have no, like, it's a lack of dopamine, I guess. So it's like I know I have the means to do what I need to do. I want to do what I need to do. No one is breaking in, Zippo. And, but like, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I take Ritalin, but I haven't taken any today.
Right.
But I find it
do
helps.
you take it like as and when you think you need it then?
I probably should take it every day. But I'm still in the process of getting my repeat prescription. So
right, okay.
It's quite, it's just, I just have to wait, basically. So I'm rationing them, which I shouldn't be, but like, I'd rather use them when I know I need them.
Yeah.
And know I have them. But yeah.
How does it change through, like, how does having ADHD affect your life as a musician? Like, how do they weave into each other?
So sometimes things can be really emotional. I forget a lot of things, and then I have anxiety about forgetting things.
So like the lyrics you were saying earlier.
Yeah. Like if I'll be there, songs I've written myself, and I know very well, I've performed thousands of times. I just forget, and I will forget them because I'm thinking. I just get so scared. It's like. And if I have nothing to worry about, I that feels weird. So I have to pick something to be anxious about. So it's a constant like stress, and then 3 songs in, it's fine.
Wow.
But or like concentrating, really difficult. Distractions.
I guess kind of luckily
time management.
In that way, music, because it is not structured, you're not sat there having to focus on something for quite literally 9 hours. It's kind of handy in a way, because if you're writing a song, it can just be like
pros as well. Like, and like I think like people with ADHD tend to be more sensitive to sound and color, and I really love art and music, so that's really good. So like for everything that's maybe bad about it, there's a good thing, and just actually understanding it. Yeah. As soon as there was a name put on it, it's like, oh, phew. Like that's what it is.
Such a relief.
Because I just like. I knew something was up, but I didn't know what it was. And I was misdiagnosed. Well, it's weird. It's not quite a misdiagnosis because I have anxiety and depression, but they're more symptoms of a bigger problem. So, like, I started treating the bigger problem.
Has that felt better then since now you've been treating?
And even like there are days like I can take Ritalin, and like the first day I took it, it was amazing. So if you imagine there's like a line, and that's the line you have to operate at. I think people with ADHD operate just a little bit below that line. So if you take Ritalin, it doesn't make you overproductive. It just makes you. It makes me feel like my normal self.
Right.
And I might be like that on a good day. And sometimes even taking that, I feel like I can train my brain to do what it does when I'm on Ritalin. But like the biggest thing is that like one small task feels very overwhelming. So like taking the bins out or like sending an email feels like you've done a whole day of work. Whereas I took the Ritalin and I did my email and I went and recorded a cover and then I uploaded it and I did all these little things that I have to do. And I was like, I didn't feel overwhelmed. And I was like, actually, no, that wasn't hard.
Wow.
You know, it's not actually difficult, but it is. You know?
Yeah.
But then some days I might go to the supermarket and I'll have like a bag of frozen food and I'll be looking at it and I'll know I have to put it in the freezer because it's melting, but like I'll just sit and watch it melt. I think that's what it is. That's how I can describe it, I think.
Yeah. Does that affect your relationships and friendships in any way?
My best mate is a doctor and she like specializes in mental health and she gets it. So
really?
Like,
that's
you
handy.
know, she's worked in psychiatry and stuff. So like whenever like I need to bail, I don't come out, like, you know, things like that. She gets it
People
straight
understand.
away. And Alfie as well completely gets it as well. And it's different because it's not something that he's really experienced as a lifelong thing. You know, he must have experienced bits of depression and anxiety here and there, but it's not a thread, I don't think. But he gets it, and it's just it's I don't know. I feel like it did at first, but because I didn't speak about it.
Yeah.
You know? And I also didn't know what to speak about it. I was like, I just feel weird. I don't want to come out. Maybe it's just who I am. Maybe you know, like you just isolate yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel better about isolating myself.
Yeah.
But now I know what it is as well. I try to not isolate myself. So if someone asks me to come out and do something or go for a coffee or anything, like my initial instinct is to say no. Or to say yes and then just come up with an excuse later. And I've been really trying not to do that because I feel guilty for it as well. And then the guilt sets in and then that rolls off. And then, you know, you just like can't ever just fucking be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just try.
Yeah. Brains are insane, aren't they? Like once you actually realise how fucking powerful it is.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it is. It controls what we do.
Yeah.
But when you realise actually how little control you've had over it for like all of your life, you're like, oh my God, I've been operating on this other system I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, and there's so many fucking levels. It's just like it just keeps going and going and
It
going.
does,
And
it's
like
so complex.
sometimes I don't want to know. I wish I didn't know sometimes, but sure.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And you said a bit earlier that you had like a bit of a breakdown. Like, what was that? What happened?
So I guess we started in really similar ways, just online audiences, and that was amazing, and that felt like a really safe community. And then I got signed, and I guess that was my goal. I didn't want to be making music on YouTube, like just on YouTube.
Yeah, it's
I
hard
wanted
to break
it
out
to
of that
be,
mold.
yeah, and like it's not that I have anything against that, but I wanted to be a commercial musician, and I wanted to write songs for people, and I didn't want to just do that, you know. And I got signed, and it was all, you know. I think from that point it was just go. All this little work up to that, the bits of work up to that point feels like, okay, I'm done now. That's it. And it's like, no, that's when it starts. And it rolls and rolls and rolls, and then I'm touring, and then you think it's done, but actually no, because Australia's maybe 6 months behind, so you have to go and start again there. And then I was taken to Japan, Brazil, everywhere, and which is amazing. And it's at the time I found it very hard to complain and say I wasn't happy because it's amazing.
Yeah, everyone dreams.
Do you know
that.
what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and it's very hard. Like, one person on the internet can tell you to shut up and be grateful and stop complaining. And I'm like, yeah, actually, yeah, fair enough. Like, of course, but you just go along with it. And I guess the first time you do something as well, it's new and exciting. So you can kind of go along, and you don't really know what your boundaries are and what your limits are as a human being. But it was nonstop for about 4 years, and I was away and I didn't have any structure, and I was back and then I was away again, and it was just like boof, 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 and shoved in the rooms and told to write songs with these random lads I didn't know, and I found it really difficult, and it was just weird. And then it stopped for a bit, and that was great. And, you know, I stayed in the same house for over a year, and I made music, and I did like a second album, and it didn't really feel like I was doing it because I was doing it at my friend's house in London. It was like a 9 to 5, and I had structure and whatever. And then it all came out, and then it stopped for a bit again, and I just didn't do any touring for ages. I was constantly writing, and I feel like that's my safe space. But touring, I felt really relieved to not be doing it. And then I went to Japan, and I did a Billboard tour, and it's like, you do, like, it's the same company, but you do like a show in Osaka and you do a show in Tokyo and maybe a few bits elsewhere. And I just couldn't do it. And they have you doing matinees, and so you do 2 shows a day.
Oh, bloody
and
hell.
it's very like nothing's late, everything's on time. Like Japanese like production companies and labels, and it just works so well. But like you work and you have to, and you can't be lazy. And I was staying in a really nice hotel. It was kind of suburban Tokyo. There's big gardens and like it was so airy and nice. And I just like literally had, I don't know how to describe it. It was like a meltdown. I just went to walk around the garden and I saw a terrapin in a pond, and I just started crying and I was like, I can't do it. And I pulled myself together and I was like, that's it. No, that's fine. I'm okay. And I went to do promo. This was the one day off that I had when I was there. And I love Japan as well. I love it. And this is why it was so sad. But I was doing promo and I was in the label and I was doing, I think it was like Nylon Japan. That's so cool. I'm not cool enough to do that here.
You are.
But I'm not. But anyway, that's cool. And we were talking about like all my favorite things, and like in Japan as well, like the Japanese press don't want to out you. They don't want to write a bad headline about you. They just really support artists, and they ask about your lyrics, and they ask about stuff that you like and your hobbies, and it's lovely. It's so wholesome, and this is why I hate that it happened there. And I went to go and change outfits for one of the pictures to be taken, and I went into the little room that made me at my label, and my manager Orna was there, and she was like, "Are you okay, Gabby?" And I just went, ah! And I just broke, and I was trying to do like buttons up on a dress or something, and I didn't. And she was almost wrong, and I was like, I don't know, I just can't answer how I like sewing anymore, or something ridiculous, and that was it. I was just done. And I came back and like, I was so ill. I was so skinny. My skin was really bad. My hair was really thin. Like I just noticed I wasn't well as well physically. And I was just tired all the time, and I couldn't eat food. And it was just like, I love food and I love sleep. And I got back and I had an American tour planned for like the end of the year. And I was like, I actually can't do it. And I kind of kept the thing about about the depression and anxiety as well is that it makes you unable to be like assertive,
right? Yeah,
I guess. So like you want to say no, but you don't say no. You go, oh yeah, I'll do that. It's like, why did I just say yes? And you feel you can't say no to things. So you make hints and you just hint and hope that someone picks up on it and goes, sure you don't want to cancel it? And I'm like, yay, please. So like I was just hinting and hinting and hinting. No one was taking it. And I rang my friend Liz, and she has worked with me a lot, and she's been there, and she was, signed to the same label as me like 10 years before. And it was, like she'd seen it and she'd done it, and she was just like, just don't go. Really? And I was like, what do you mean I can't go? She was like, just don't go. And I was like, you don't have to cancel it, you can reschedule it, whatever. And I just felt so guilty, but she then rang my manager and was like, she can't go. Like, I'm sorry. She just rang me crying. She's at a festival. She shouldn't be crying. She can't go. And they cancelled it straight away. They were like, and I got a text from my manager. I was at Electric Picnic in Ireland, and he was like, American tour has been cancelled.
I bet the relief.
And I was just like, ah! And it wasn't cancelled. It got postponed. And I did a lot of work to make it so I could go. And I brought Alfie with me. So I had some sort of kind of network. And I went, 6 months afterwards, and it made it a lot better. Maybe 6 months, maybe a little bit less. But that's when I just started getting help for it. And that was like, you have depression, this. But then actually it led to the ADHD diagnosis. So.
And so throughout like the Japan thing, do you think you were realizing something was going wrong and you were denying it? Or did it take for all of it to happen and then you were like, oh shit, actually maybe I'm not okay?
I think it needed to happen. I think something felt weird the whole time. I've never felt comfortable with it, but I thought that maybe that was the one part of it that made me feel uncomfortable and I could live with it. But I think, I don't know, like... I think I caught up with myself. Yeah. It's like there's yourself and then there's your brain self, your kind of soul self, your very like simple human self. And I was running on autopilot. Right. And I think I stopped, and then my other self caught up with me and was going, what the fuck are you doing to yourself? What are you doing? And as soon as it kind of sunk in and I'd had a bit of time off and then started again, and I started again in the same way I had done it before, it didn't work because I'd got into what I was doing, and it was the first time I was an adult on my own as well. So like I was learning that. And I had a bit of time off to learn my boundaries and when I want to get to bed and when I want to wake up, how much I can do, and I think it was just like it was wrong. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do this time. And I think I was a teenager as well, so it was like someone told me to do something.
When all that happened?
So my little mini breakdown was about 2 years ago.
That was post
My like second album.
Okay,
and,
right,
like,
yeah,
Post
okay.
me leaving. It was about 2.5 years ago where I had a bit of time off and I was releasing bits here and there, but like I think I needed that time off to actually know.
Yeah.
I think.
Did your friends and family notice that something was different? Were they kind of
I
like,
was
"Are you
told
okay?"
I was skinny and my skin was bad,
Right.
all the time. Like
It was showing up physically.
I
though,
could
like-
tell, but like it was weird because the people I worked with, maybe they noticed it. They never told me that they did, but I feel like they were waiting for me to say something. It wasn't that they were evil; they were like just
No.
running me through a machine. But I think maybe they noticed something wasn't right, and then I told them, and then it was like, even though I felt like it was gonna be really annoying for everyone to just have to rejig everything, but it made it so much better for that, and
Yeah.
everyone knows my boundaries now as well. So like. My manager knows very well that I can't do a whole year of touring. Like I have to do it in chunks.
Yeah.
So
Do you feel
Yeah,
like
it's
you
good.
can be more assertive now?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
how cool is
Say no
that?
all the time. It's brilliant. No is a magic word and it's very hard to say. And it's hard to like just say no to things sometimes as well. When it's like, you better do it because it might be a good opportunity. I'm like, but it might not.
Yeah.
And do you know, can I be bothered? No. Am I promised anything? It actually doesn't matter. Like, what?
Yeah.
Do you know, like, does
Yeah,
it
and I
matter?
think especially in this industry, like we were saying, when you're a musician, you can't help but feel like you should be really grateful to be there all the time. So any opportunity that comes your way, you should take it because it's probably amazing and people would love to have that
People will
opportunity.
kill for that opportunity.
But
exactly,
it's like, no, but it's probably going to be shit.
and it's going to make me feel awful about myself.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time. I think the music industry is the one industry, well, maybe there's more, I don't know about them,
Yeah,
but
we're
like,
really
maybe there's
involved, yeah.
millions. But it's the one that makes you feel so important and so insignificant at exactly the same time.
Wow, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So true. But how scary is that? Like,
It's
no
horrible.
wonder-
It's very confusing for people. No wonder, like, musicians
Just
are
take
all over
drugs
the
all the
place.
time and, like-
yeah, I can completely understand why they do. And like, I think, I don't know. I was talking to a friend really recently, and she had interned for a management company, and she had to put together a promo schedule for an artist at some festivals or something.
Right.
And she had scheduled in lunch and dinner and breakfast and a break. And the artists were like, wow, that's so cool. Like, wow, thank you.
Wow,
and
we
she was
get a
like,
break.
you just said thank you to me for allowing you 20 minutes for lunch. Like, and when she had brought it up with the management company, they were like, well, yeah, okay, do what you want. Like, yeah, well, yeah, if you think so. Like, that hadn't even been thought of. So even though you're getting all these amazing opportunities, and obviously, like, from the outside, it looks like, you know, obviously we're in an amazing position, but like there's basic human needs, and it's time, and it's, you need a bit of food, and you need a
Yeah.
rest, and
like family and friends. You
family,
need these
friends,
things.
networks, and like structure in your home, like they are needs for you to live like a, you know, a stable life.
Yeah.
And they're not actually thought about because these people making those schedules are in their office and they go home to their families every night and they don't actually understand it. And you can understand why they don't, because they don't actually have to live it, even though they're working on it, you know?
Yeah. Do you feel like in order for that to change, then there needs to be like all musicians need to be like, no, we are only going to tour for X amount of time.
I think there should be regulations. Like, I think sometimes, like, obviously, it's very hard to regulate people who are self-employed, because even when you're signed to a major label, you're still self-employed. But, like, some of the hours that musicians work, if it's technically illegal.
Yeah.
It's illegal. And there's no real regulation. There's regulation for the A&Rs that sit in the office, and there's regulations and rules in HR, but there isn't for the people actually making money for these industries. And I get that everyone's a cog, and everyone, you know, like, it's not just musicians. There's a huge team around everybody. But I don't know how you would regulate it, because some people love working. Some people would love to do that all the time. But I think, you know, you should be able to book holiday every year.
Yeah, definitely.
You should, and that is untouchable. You should have like legally untouchable. You don't have to go away on holiday. You just have to have that time is off and no one can touch it.
Yeah.
There should be a certain amount of hours you can do a day. Like, I think
Yeah,
personally, and maybe even in deals, record deals, Zippo, and record deals. You know, kind of having therapists and working with music charities for, you know, artists to have that if they need it.
Yeah.
I think because it's difficult, and a lot of artists get signed so young that I think they do every now and then might need to go and talk to someone, even if they just go into the label once a month to speak to someone who's there for half an hour. Like, I think it'd be handy.
Yeah, because you definitely, because it's such a weirdly unique experience when you first start out. You really think no one else is doing the same thing or feeling the same thing. But as soon as you speak to someone who's on the same thing, they're like, oh yeah, I'm at home every day, and actually I feel really guilty when I don't do anything, and I hate myself and I beat myself up. When actually we're all sat at home hating ourselves for not having the motivation to do something. But like, yeah. Oh, okay.
So she farted. I'm really sorry. I promise you it's not me.
It's definitely you. No, what was I going to say? Oh, God damn it. Don't you hate when that happens?
That's another ADHD thing.
Is it?
This is one of my biggest anxieties in like interviews, is when someone asks me a question. I can forget that question whilst I'm answering it.
Oh, God, how terrifying.
And I do it all the time.
Really?
All the time. And now I know why. I thought something was really badly wrong with me in my brain.
Really?
And now I know what it is. Like, it's just like your thoughts are like in the air, and you just have to catch them and hope they don't fly away. That's literally what it's like.
That's
like
scary.
you could ask me a question now and I'd be like, yeah, well, the thing is, I think...
what do I think?
What do I think and what do I think about what?
Nowadays, are you just like, sorry, what was the question again? Or do you just keep going in the hope
sometimes
that
I try and keep going. I don't know why. I should just stop.
I like that. I think that's cool.
I don't know.
Okay, I can't remember it because my brain's being a little bitch. Are you like a spiritual person then?
Yeah, I guess in some ways.
Well, you've definitely been on a journey these past few years.
I've tried a few things,
right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, like veganism and all this stuff, it all links, right? You're
I
quite
feel
a wellness like person.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm perfectly healthy. But I don't know. It's weird because for me, I didn't go, I'm going vegan now. Like, it never felt like that for me. I just stopped eating some bits I didn't eat in the first place. And it wasn't like I was like, it's bad for the animals, so stop eating it. But that wasn't my motivation. But I stopped eating meat, and then I couldn't cook anyway. And since actually not eating, well, just only eating vegetables, basically, I've learned how to cook in really creative ways, and I really love it, and I enjoy it, and I found something I enjoy. And I don't like to try and push it on people, but I like to make people food. So when people come around for dinner, I really try and put on a thing and like do it. And either people are really nice and they're having a shit time, or they actually are having a nice time. And they do like it. I managed, Callum Burrows? Mm-hmm. I managed to make him eat a bowl of cauliflower.
Oh, right. I was like, a bowl of cucumber?
How would you do that?
Niche.
And like, he's not a vegetables guy, but he came round and ate a bowl of cucumber. So cauliflower! So I really love it. I love being like, that's a cauliflower, by the way. And him, like, I just love that shit. I love it.
What's your favourite thing to cook?
Oh, mac and cheese.
Oh, wait, I've seen you on your Cooking with Friends do that, right?
It was so bad because the oven didn't melt the cheese, because we got the pre-grated cheese, and it's got this, like, I think it's because it's made out of coconut oil. It just melts. So it's got, like, this powder stuff on it to make it not melt. And I needed it to melt. And I was like, I just want to do it again. This is shit. But I need content.
Some vegan food at some point. I'm one of those really annoying people that's just so fussy when it comes to food. And I'm like, it's one of the things I'm like, I know I want this to change in my life. But say with cucumber, for example, very innocent food, I'd be like, no, don't like it.
I actually had a guy stay with me at the start of the week, and we went to this place that does like sushi burritos, and I told him it was brilliant. He was like, that's delicious. But I looked where he was sat on the beach, and I saw his 2 sticks of cucumber next to him, and I was like, you didn't eat that. I don't think you like cucumber. And then that night, I put cucumber in something I was making him for dinner, and it was the one thing left on his plate. But he's so polite. He didn't say anything. Do you have like a food that you just hate that's completely irrational? Like, what's your thing that just makes you gag?
I mean, there's definitely some things. Let me try and whittle it down.
Mine's raisins.
Raisin? I like a raisin.
Vile.
If it's probably somewhere in the veg category. Cucumbers are a no, even though they're just water and air, seemingly.
They're delicious.
What would I like actively? Avocados I'd actively avoid.
I find them difficult, actually.
Because you have to get them at the right moment or something?
The right moment. I don't like them on their own.
Right.
Like, I have to mush them in with loads of salt or something. I think it's like eating a lump of butter, I find.
Yeah, see, how is anyone like that?
My nan used to make sandwiches with really, really thick butter, and I couldn't deal with it. But I loved the rest of the filling in the sandwich. But I just had to eat through the butter. I just be like, I hate it.
How do you feel about eggs?
I've never personally liked eggs. actually. Not like them. I used to love a dippy egg. I could do like
a
the dippy
egg
yellow
and soldier
bit.
thing.
The rest of it, no. And scrambled egg used to make me heave. But, so I don't eat eggs now. And I think, actually, the egg industry is horrible. But, like, when I feel like if people had just chickens in their garden and they just lay a couple of eggs, I don't think that's killing the world. And,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
And I actually I got like an Airbnb in like Devon somewhere. No, in Bude in Cornwall once.
Nice.
And it was like this guy had bought this old cattle shed thing and made it into his house, and then he'd built these yurts and he'd made a nut orchard on his land. It was a proper hippie fest.
Yeah,
It was
who
amazing.
is this guy?
Oh, he's amazing. I'll send you him. And he built this amazing yurt with like a wood oven thing, and you know, do you know those wood fires?
Yeah, like the pizza big fire.
No, not like a pizza thing. Like you have them in your house, a log burner.
Oh, okay, right.
A wood oven. It was amazing, and it had like this like solar powered outdoor shower, and it wasn't warm, but it was really lovely. And you're in the middle of nowhere in this orchard, and there's chickens running around. And he brought up some of their eggs, and I was like, I'm cool with this. I'm gonna have an omelette. I'm camping. I'm making an omelette, and I made the omelette, and I was sick.
Oh,
And
really?
Only because I hadn't had it in so long.
Right.
It's like your taste buds change or something.
Yeah.
It was like eating a fart.
Oh my God, that literally
And I
sounds
really wanted to
disgusting.
enjoy that. I was like, do you know what? I don't do this very often.
At
And
least you tried, yeah.
I tried it, and I was like, I'm okay with this kind of egg. This is the egg I'm okay with, but it wasn't okay.
Yeah.
But it would have been the best egg if I liked eggs, I think.
Is it the same thing, like if you had any meat now, you reckon your body would be like, fuck
Yeah,
that?
I don't think I'd like it. It smells different. It smells like I don't know what human's flesh smells like, but like it feels like
mixing
I'm
something here?
smelling. I'm a murderer. But it's like it just doesn't happen. I'm not offended. I feel like someone eats meat around me. I'm not like, oh, get away.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. I'm completely cool with it. I have dogs. Like, it's fine. But like, I just don't feel anything for it. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. And
Is
the
Alfie
cheese.
vegan?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, that's easy,
He
right?
loves it. He's so vegan. I actually saw, it was a really funny moment a few weeks ago where I just looked at him and I was like, you literally look like a vegan meme. And he was wearing like socks and Birkenstocks, but the vegan Birkenstocks. He had a Repeal the 8th jumper on, a broccoli in one hand and a fucking cucumber in the other or something. And he was
And then like a hat or something?
he had just his hair with coconut oil
Oh,
or
of
something,
course.
like, you know. And it was like, you look so vegan. You look like yourself right now.
Love it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, yeah.
I don't know how we got into
Look how
veganism.
far I'm down my gin. Oh,
Well,
Jesus.
we should
Oh,
probably
no.
pour some more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with another number.
19.
Why do I keep fucking going off this? Oh yeah, I remember now. 19. What's the one thing that people always misunderstand about you?
Okay.
This is gonna be good.
Well, I'm not sure. I think there are. I like to meet people. I like people, and I hate the kind of border that's kind of put up between like artist and fans. I hate that, and it's like I don't want to feel superior to anybody, and I don't want anyone to feel superior to me. And it's like we're all in the same room. We're humans, and I don't like the whole kind of celebrity thing. And obviously, I'm not fucking Rihanna. I get it, but like I don't. It makes me feel really uncomfortable. So I feel like people I meet and people who come to my shows or like, you know, whatever, I think they probably see me and meet me and they're like, okay. But I think, you know, when I'm pitching for something or like maybe reaching out to an artist or a writer and feel like, hey, I want to work with you, they think I'm the piano girl.
Oh really?
Sweet, lovely piano girl, like, you know, who never does anything wrong. I feel like, you know, like, you might get it sometimes. Do you ever get people, like, tweeting, like, can you not swear, please? Because my 9-year-old follows you. Like, why's your 9-year-old on Twitter? Like,
I'm pretty sure I said cunt when I was on YouTube at 18.
oh, I
so
should have
think-
just done it and got out of the
everyone
way.
gets
I
it.
love to drop the C-bomb, like, just to surprise people.
I bet.
But, like, I think maybe, I don't know, I sound so, like, such a dick saying it, but I feel like people may think I'm maybe more innocent than I may be.
Right,
But then
okay.
at the same time, I remember when like I asked you, I was like, what drugs do you think I do? And you're like, oh, you obviously do coke. And I was like, no, I've never done coke.
Yeah, but just, it's because
So I get that. I get it though. I get that vibe. And I think about people that I follow on like Instagram and like that I don't know, and I'm like, they're definitely cokeheads. But actually they're probably not at all.
Yeah.
Like
I wish there was like a way Or like you could put an emoji that would let people know, like, oh yeah, I do drugs and I'm okay to talk about them. Because you're like having a friendly chat and you're like, I just really want to know whether you do drugs.
Or like, or the thing on like just the internet as well, because I feel like that's my only place I can really connect to people who are like, I don't know, that like my music, and I feel like I have a duty to do that and say like thank you, you know. You know, sometimes I might find something funny, but like, oh, no one can know that I find that funny, and it's not like, you know, no one's gonna be offended by any of it, but I'm like, oh, like, you know, like there were just a few things, like be it drugs or something completely silly, or like, you know, like I was scared that like I liked like one of Seth Rogen's posts on like he'd done for his, do you follow him on Instagram?
I don't think I do actually.
He goes to pottery classes so he can make his own ashtrays. I love him.
That is such a Seth Rogen thing to do.
Hero. I love him. But he's got like some like weed company or something. But he'd done this amazing like he's got like 3 strains, like a sativa and an indica and a hybrid, and he's done like a compilation vinyl to go with each strain. So like there's like slow kind of chill music, there's like big music, and then it's kind of mid-tempo for like depending on what it's like. And I wanted to share that and be like, I want to tell my label, my managers, and be like, look how cool this is. Well, like, no, they're gonna think badly of me. And I wanted to share it and say it was genius, but I was like, well, someone might find out that I follow a guy who smokes weed or something. Right. Like, you know, I don't know. I hate that I think that, because it's not even that bad.
Okay, right. Let's pick another number.
22.
Wow, you fucking knew. You said 22, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I fucking did.
Yeah, I did.
If you died tomorrow, what would you wish you'd have done?
Oh, goodness gracious me. Oh, jeez.
I like to use death as a way to, nowadays anyway, to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, for example, if I thought about you and I'd be like, okay, if Gabrielle died tomorrow, what would I wish I could have said to her that I never did? And then I'd be like, well, why am I not telling her that now?
Okay.
Oh,
that's interesting. I think I actually don't, it may sound sad, but not in a bad way. I just don't have any goals. I'm just living.
I'm not a
goal
goal
care.
person.
I don't want to, you know, like some people are like, I want to have a number 1. I want to have a Grammy. Like, I've never dreamt about any of those things. I just want to get to a point that like my dog has a big garden to run around in, and I can chill in my house, and I can, you know, sort my parents out. Like, I would love to take my parents to some of the countries that I travel to with my music, so I could actually show them, because it's bonkers. I'd love to bring like my parents with me to Japan or something, and that's something I wish I could easily just go and book that tomorrow, but like but I don't, you know, and like that's something I feel like I have all these thoughts about things I want to do, and I think I should just do them.
Right. And so why aren't you? Why don't you think you are?
I don't know. It's ADHD. I think that's what it is. Yeah. I think, yeah, there's nothing in particular, but I think I would just love for like my family to see some of the things I've seen that I can't quite explain unless they're there.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
I think. Yeah.
Have you've got a good relationship with your family? And
yeah, they're the coolest. Yeah.
I've met them a couple of times at your tours.
Yes, they are. They're just it's cool.
Yeah.
Cool people. And you know, you always think that your parents deserve more than what they have, you know, and like I would just love to be like, here, we're going to Tokyo next week. I'd love to be able to do that one day.
What would they do if you did that? They just freak out.
My mum would probably just pass out, actually. She probably just have a panic attack. She probably would not enjoy it at all. But I would just love to just plonk them in a situation way out of their comfort zone. I think it would be hilarious.
What was your like childhood like? What were the good bits and the bad bits?
Like pretty free, actually. It's because we didn't have much, and I never felt like I was lacking until I went to school and I was bullied. Because,
you were bullied?
Yeah. And like I didn't go to like a private school or anything like that. It wasn't like, but I felt like it was quite middle class, maybe. I definitely felt like different to a lot of the other students who were quite wealthy, maybe. And like, I think I was actually very similar to most people in the UK, but in that one particular thing, I felt like I was less than everybody. But I think I was probably in the same boat as most people my age at the time. But I think it was only school that made me feel like I didn't have enough, or maybe that I couldn't dress the way that some of the girls were dressing and they'd bully me for it. Or like, you know, I remember my mum had this really old car and it was cool. It's like an old Mini, and she used to drive old ice cream vans and stuff and like do, like that was her job. And like now I think that's the coolest thing ever. But I just remember this moment. And it's weird how you remember the names of your bullies. I remember them. Like I could just out them right now.
But you're better.
But I'm better than them.
Yes.
I just remember this one moment where this girl saw my mum's car and came up to me and was like, "You're disgusting. My parents have a new car every 3 years." And I just remember being like, okay. And like going to like my cycling proficiency and feeling like I had the coolest bike in the world. It was like this bright green BMX or something I thought was so cool. And then this guy being like, "That is the most disgusting bike I've ever seen." And me being like, "Oh, okay." Like those moments, that was like the worst of it.
Right.
And like,
but still, they like words.
sorry,
they
but
cut a
evil
lot
little
deeper.
shits.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I laugh at them
really
now,
are.
haha. But like, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's just weird because then, like, at home, when I really zoom out, I'm like, wow, I really didn't have as much of those other kids who were really mean to me. But like, I never felt like I lacked anything
That's good parenting.
because they're legends.
Yeah.
So like, you know, crayons and a bit of paper, fucking fantastic. I love it. And
And
like,
look where that got you.
and whereas to them, like to other people, that might have just been like nothing. Well, I don't know. I felt like I was pretty content actually.
Yeah.
So like, I quite liked not being in school, but it wasn't that I hated school. I probably would have enjoyed it if it wasn't for that.
Right.
But like,
When did you start playing music then? When was music something that you retreated to for like? Has it been? Is music
it's
a kind
definitely
of
been
therapy
constant. Yeah, it definitely writing and recording is. Touring I found really difficult, but I love it. There's, you know, the first 3 songs horrible because I'm anxious, but then once I get into it, it's fine. But studio work and writing I really enjoy, and I feel like it really exercises a part of my brain that needs to be exercised. I like it, whether it's for me or for someone else or a project or a TV or whatever. But yeah, I've actually forgotten what the question was.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it to happen.
When did music start
yes.
becoming a thing for you?
Okay, so it was always a constant. Like
Music was always a part of your family.
like my earliest memory. Yeah, definitely. My dad's really, really creative.
Really?
Like, and he was more artistically, you know, like with fine art and making things and painting and stuff. So that was definitely there was always a visual thing for me, and I loved that. And I literally had always been painting and things and making stuff. But music, I got, my aunt gave me like one of her old keyboards. It was like one of those really shit ones. And like I learned, like my dad was telling me to learn tunes, like Bruce Springsteen songs and like things. I was just like learning, but it wasn't really, you know, it was just something I just to do as well. But I remember like my first memory of music being a thing was when I don't think I was even 4. I have a really good memory. I have these like snippets. I must have been about 3 because I was old enough to like feel like I didn't have to go to the toilet. Like I would still like just, you know, wear a nappy.
That blows my
Yeah,
mind
do you know,
that you
I
remember
have
that.
like these. I have amazing memory. Like and there's things I don't even know I remember, and someone will say a word and it will trigger something, and I'll remember a conversation I had when I was like 9 or whatever. But there's this one memory I have of like my mum, I can smell it as well. My mum used shake and vac on the carpet. It was Lily of the Valley flavour, and I actually can smell it now. And she was shake and vacking the floor, and then the doorbell went or something, and she was hoovering it up, and I was sat like in my little area, and she'd gone to the door, and in that moment I was watching the TV, and the music video for Nothing Compares, the Sinead O'Connor version, came on, and I was just like, wow, who is she? She's an angel. And that moment just completely got me, and I was there like, wow.
Wow.
You know.
How cool was that?
So
That
I remember like always
it, but-
loving it, but didn't know what I wanted to do with it, I guess.
And that's where I'm going to end it today, team. But be sure not to miss the last 10-15 minutes of that conversation because it gets so funny. She tells the most amazingly embarrassing stories, and we talk about YouTube, and we talk about what it was like for her writing My Mistake and what was behind that. There is so much good stuff to be found in that last section. So make sure you sign up to my Patreon, patreon.com/Kate McGill. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month, and you'll get the full episodes all the time, a week earlier than everyone else. Do not miss out. Go and sign up now, and I will be forever grateful. But I will see you back here in a couple of weeks with Josephine from Oh Wonder. We have an amazing chat about body image and confidence and diets and Oh Wonder and music. It's such a good chat. She's a wonderful human. So I'll see you back then, and have a lovely life until then. Okay. Bye.